Hi everyone, I'm Dale Smith, aka Journo Dale, and we're here to talk about Canadian politics. All right, we are here this week in person with Patricia Treble, royal commentator extraordinaire. And for this being our Victoria Day special, and to talk about the birthday of the King of Canada.
His official birthday.
I figured we would start off with actually his sister, Princess Anne.
What?
She was just in the country on a working tour.
She was.
Now, explain to people how working tours are different than royal tours.
So you've got the official tour, which is the Canadian government, and they invite people, and often the engagements they want to do is kind of a collaboration between what the royal wants to do and what the federal government and what the provincial government and what the local governments want to do. So those are the official tours. So when King and Queen came as Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall in May 2022.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
It was an official tour. They are invited by the Canadian government. Fun fact, as heir to the throne, Charles, now William, cannot come to Canada unless he's invited. Then you've got working tours. So working tours are simply when royals, they've got a lot of affiliations here. They have their military units, they've got charities, all that sort of stuff. And so they come over and they want to deal with that. So basically they give the government a heads up because they'll need security and things like that. And then they come and they do that. And that's what she was doing. And a lot of it was military related.
Yeah.
Because she is Commodore in Chief of the Canadian Fleet Pacific.
Yeah.
Which is basically the Navy's Pacific Fleet.
Yeah. And I think the king is, or was the Commodore-in-Chief for Atlantic. I'll have to double check that. Because I think that was who they named at the time. I think
so, but all those titles, of course, are up in the air with him because, of course, he got a new job.
Yes.
So she was there because it was the launch of the first Arctic Patrol vessel, HMCS Max Bernays.
For the Pacific Fleet.
They
have 2 or 3 in the Atlantic already.
And so she was doing a whole bunch of engagements. And of course, you know her. She's so busy. So she actually did the commissioning in Vancouver, got on the ship, had engagements on the ship with all the ship's company, then sailed overnight to Victoria, did a whole bunch more engagements. And fun, she took her husband.
Yes.
Who is a retired vice admiral of the Royal Navy. So not a shabby guy. Rose up the ranks by himself. So she's taking him on more and more of the tours because she is 73. So, getting up there at the point, you kind of want your husband.
Yeah.
So I like her. She's my favorite royal.
She's my favorite royal too.
Because she just works and she knows everything. So there was, I crunch royal data. It's one of those things I do. Dale knows about it. And, in the first 4 months of the year, because of course there's been so many illnesses, so much chaos, she's done nearly 1/3 of all royal engagements.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is amazing. Now, it's not she's adding more, because I don't see how she could. She does more than $550 a year.
Yeah.
Her total went up 2%, but it's simply that everyone else's went down so much. Especially her perennial runner-up, which is her big brother, the king.
Yeah.
Who's, of course, only just started doing public-facing engagements.
Yeah.
So she's off. She's in Norway, and then she's off things, and then D-Day's coming up, and we're going to talk about that. And there's, she's out and about. And she was here twice last year. Yeah. Her regiment in New Brunswick, and then Banff, because there's all the educational stuff. She does this thing. It's for Prince Philip, and it's this whole lecture series, and there's conferences that go with it. And the name has completely escaped me, of course, but it was held in Banff, and so she came and she opened it. And it was amazing, and flying in and out for 2 days.
Yeah,
as one does. Crazy.
And you were saying D-Day is coming up, and they have a specifically Canadian program for some of the royals.
Exactly. So it's the 80th anniversary. It is almost certainly the last big anniversary where we're going to have veterans, right? Yeah. Because 80, do the math on that. So we're going to have, there's 2 days of events. So you've got June 5th, which is the day before. That was the day it was supposed to be, got called up by bad weather. The meteorologist called it, said, reschedule. Princess Anne is going to be with the Royal Regina Rifles because of course they landed on Juno Beach. They're going to unveil a statue. There's going to be services to commemorate that. There's all sorts of things that she's specifically doing the day before D-Day with the Canadians. And then on D-Day, the anniversary itself, which is June 6th, the Prince of Wales.
Okay.
So Prince William. We would have likely had Kate, but of course, she's undergoing preventive radiation.
Yes.
Chemo, sorry.
Chemo.
And he's going to be at Juno Beach, which is the beach that the Canadians landed on. And he's going to be doing all those official commemorations before going on to do the big event with all the heads of state. So lots of Canadian stuff. We are not being forgotten. And it's the one time when really it isn't, because I mean, the 5 beaches, one of those was ours, 2 are Brits, and 2 are the Americans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was we were supposed to have a royal tour now. Right now, the King's health has prevented that. Yep. What do we think that's going to look like when that gets rescheduled? I don't know if it's either in the fall or next year.
I haven't heard any word, and I've been kind of asking about it discreetly. I haven't heard no word. His schedule is one that it fills up quick, right? I mean, they plan things well ahead. They're already planning the Australian tour, and I think New Zealand around the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa, which is in the fall.
Right.
So that he's going to be out there. So I don't see a gap, because here's the problem. Canada, we have bad weather in the winter time. We don't want royal tours in the winter time, because when they came over in, remember 2009, Camilla's first trip as his wife to Canada, they started in Newfoundland in the outports, and the weather was absolutely atrocious, and it was November. They were never going to do that again.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I remember that tour because they came to Remembrance Day here in Ottawa.
Absolutely.
And that was the first time that Stephen Harper started taking his protocol properly.
Really?
Because he was doing a lot of really no things, like standing on the podium with the GG and stuff like that in years before. And when Prince Charles came, then Prince Charles, he got corrected in terms of where his protocol was. And that also seemed to be the start of when Stephen Harper got super monarchist.
Well, it was fascinating because it started in the outports, so it got a reputation because it was terrible weather. Nobody was there, right?
Yeah.
The outports don't have a lot of population. When it came to Toronto, I was there in Toronto, and she was getting massive crowds. I mean, the crowds were humongous and really positive, but the narrative is set. And so it's always that first day, and I've written about it, that first day is incredibly important. They put a lot of work into it. I think it's going to be next spring. I think we were going to be the first realm country, of course, he was going to visit. It was very deliberate. Australia's going to beat us to the punch, I'm afraid. Yeah. That's okay. It would have been now, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get a longer tour.
You never know.
Mm-hmm. He can make up for it. Feelings are hurt. Make up for it. Stay longer.
Do a few more provinces than he would have the first time around.
And the thinking always was that this was going to be. They've been doing these fly-in, fly-out, really short 3-day, 4-day tours. That this was going to be at least a week, maybe a bit longer. So maybe it pushes the envelope a little bit.
Okay.
Wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah.
And then William can be Councillor of State in London if he wants to. He can go away. Britain's not going to collapse.
Britain's not going to... Well... They have that election coming up, and it's going to be a doozy.
It's going to be something. Hey, he might want to leave the country. Because
This is true.
Because he can't do anything while the election's on, of course. This is the thing. Governor generals and kings, royals, very careful about what they do. And they can do nothing that is in any way political related.
Yeah.
Purdah. So I think what some government officials call, which it's an old Indian, it's a term, Indian term. But it basically means you stay as far away from politicians as possible. So Canada, we got a whole ocean.
Whole ocean.
Come on.
All right, 2 more things. Commemorative medals and banknotes. So we finally, a year later, got those.
They're nice. They're lovely. I was worried. I was like, have they forgotten those things? And then, of course, you think about the dates. You think, okay, if you didn't get it out in 6 months, then what's the next pod? They're always sticking a peg, right? And
this government in particular always has to stake something to a date.
Yeah.
So my guess would have been that they were waiting for the royal tour, and then when that got canceled, they had to scramble to find a new date.
My thinking was, and again, ruminating, that they might have wanted to. There's a whole bunch of pegs. The king's real birthday is in November. That would have been a great peg for it. 6 months after, I just don't think they got everything together, and so then they looked around for the next peg, and it's like, oh, first anniversary of the coronation. So here's the thing, guys. If you know somebody who's made a significant contribution to your community, your province, territory, the country, you can fill out an application. Anyone can fill out an application for them, not for you. You can't toot your own horn. 30,000, 4,000 go to the military.
Yeah.
And again, that sort of thing. There's lots of organizations that are being asked to submit names because, of course, lots of worthy causes out there. But honestly, if you think you know somebody who, might get overlooked, put in the name. You never know. And it's a very nice medal.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a rare one because only 30,000. That's not a lot.
Yeah, not compared to some of the previous Jubilee ones.
Nope.
Yeah, all right. And yeah, the banknotes, they made the decision, which was always the thing.
But they made the decision at the coronation day. They announced it. He was going to be on the 20. So
yeah, but I don't know.
Are they doing this in steps?
And the bank had to assure us that yes, Vimy Ridge is still going to be on there.
Yeah, so one side will be Vimy Ridge, one side will be the king. It's going to be the $20 bill because, of course, the late queen is on it now, and that is basically now the royal bill. Yeah. And it's the most popular bill, so really you're going to see him a lot. He's already on the coinage.
Which is just started everywhere. To roll out. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot of coins now with him on it, and now after a while, you kind of, oh, right, it's not the queen. Like, it really takes you aback.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see what sort of portrait. He has to approve it.
Yeah.
So it has to go to the palace, get approved. This is not easy. I don't know if we talked about this last time. The queen, it took 5 years for the queen's portrait to appear.
I did not know that.
1957. And even then, there was a little controversy because they thought the way her hair was curled, it looked like there were devil's horns.
Oh, I remember that.
And they had to rework her portrait just slightly because people were very concerned. And but she was on all the notes.
Yeah.
But, times have changed.
Times have changed.
Like so, yeah. Here's an interesting thing. Do you know when he was a monarch was first on a Bank of England note?
It was later.
Yeah, 1960. Before that, they just had designs.
Yeah.
Like, who knew? So we were first, so, change is good.
Change is good. And the Bank of Canada's got their own particular process as well. And, this one is going to be a vertical bill as well, like the new 10s.
I gotta say, vertical bills are a problem. Have you ever tried, putting them in machines and stuff like that?
I have not.
A lot of places, they do not like vertical bills. They really don't like vertical bills. Mm-hmm. So I've used them at the Presto machines, which is, for anyone who's outside of Ontario, this is the transit. For a lot of Ontario. They do not like those bills. They get popped out, regularly.
Oh.
Yeah. They have to pull out the plastic.
Duly noted.
They got to work on that.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a Presto problem than the bill. I think the bill is perfect. So, and we're going to have, this is going to be a big summer. We're going to have Tripping the Color. We're going to have a lot of stuff. At some point, we will likely see Kate again. Probably not till the fall. If we see it before, lovely, but everyone needs to, hold off. So, and we'll probably have some more working tours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sophie is a regular in Canada.
Sophie and Edward, regular. Yeah. Edward does Duke of Edinburgh award scheme because he's the Duke of Edinburgh, but he was doing it even before then. His father had handed over to him, and they regularly come, almost every year. Before the pandemic. Yeah. So, There we go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. In person.
And now I think we're going to have maple walnut ice cream to celebrate the King's birthday. Because it's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
And this is the only birthday of all his realms that is on this day, on Victoria Day.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
New Zealand does it in June and stuff like that.
And Australia does in June. And
maybe they have
UK does it
gelato.
in June. And
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do it early. I think we should celebrate. Also because it's really hot in Ottawa right now.
It is.
It's very hot.
Muggy.
Oof.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
And that's everything for this week. Thanks to Patricia for being here in person. And don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe, and support us on Patreon. I'm Dale Smith. That's at Journo_Dale on Twitter and JournoDale_no_ on Bluesky. Thanks, everyone.